guys. I got a few minutes to tell you guys some more crazy stories. Guys, I'm getting ready to go to the car wash. I gotta wash one of the vans. But guys, let's get to the topic of this story here. I got a couple of crazy service calls to go over, guys. Sometimes, well, actually, most of the time, most of the calls you guys run is going to make sense, but sometimes, guys, you just have to chalk up what you see to the game. I'm going to tell you, when was this? This had to have been like at least 4 years ago. Guys, I was out in the country area. This is in Pennsylvania, too. This was a no AC call. And guys, I remember this call like it was yesterday. In this area, they had the condensers under the back. It's like sort of like a backyard deck. And this is out, once again, this is out in the country. So this customer has a house like right on the side of the road. But guys, I was on this no AC call. I forgot what the issue was, but the outside unit wasn't running. I think the customer said that the outdoor unit, the air was blowing out the vents, but the air just wasn't cold. So guys, I'm like, all right, guys, I did my procedures. I went inside, make sure that the fan was blowing. And guys, listen, listen to this. And it was hot as hell that day. I go outside, right, and I'm like, all right, where's the condenser? He was like, yeah, it's right underneath the deck. So I'm like, all right, guys, I get my kneeling pad and I go underneath the deck. And guys, I have my same tool bag that you guys seen with me right now. I have my backpack tool bag. I get my kneeling pad and my tool bag and I go underneath the house. And guys, like I said, you hear sounds. It could be, it could be whatever, guys. It could be, most of the times it's just nothing, guys. But I just heard like a bunch of leaves like scrounging to the right side of like my ear. I'm like, all right, it might not be nothing. So I'm like, all right, guys. I get my drill out of my tool bag and I go to open a panel and I look to the right of me, guys. And I don't know what the hell it is, guys, but it was a black snake, like down there, not a gardener snake, but I don't know if that was a pet snake or what, guys, but like, it's safe to say, guys, I got my shit and I told the customer, look, I'm not an exterminator. You got to put something down there underneath the house because I'm not trying to fuck around and get bit, guys, by a snake. But the customer understood, and like I said, he was like, yeah, we get these snakes all the time. He was like, yeah, I'll definitely make a call. But guys, I actually never went back there, so I don't know what was going on with that service call. But if you guys down in Texas, I know you guys see this a lot of snakes, guys. I mean, the only thing I do know is it was black, and it was definitely like, we're not talking like gardener snakes that you can just kick to the side. That motherfucker looked like I don't know, guys, but like I said, as soon as I seen it, if I could have seen that before I went underneath the house, I probably could have dealt with it. But guys, me seeing that up close, I'm like, oh hell no! I just got up out of that underneath the house, guys. I'm like, I don't know if it was a den underneath there or what, but guys, that wasn't the service call I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let me make sure I'm staying on top of comments because I be getting carried away. Garrett, what's going on? But yeah, guys, I had this crazy service call last year. I think I put this on the vlog. I'm not sure, but guys, this was a no AC service call I was on. Brand new customer, and I think this was a York heat pump. Listen to this, guys. Like I said, my procedures doesn't change. You guys seen, like I said, the many service calls I run, it all starts and ends pretty much the same way, unless something's unforeseen, whether I can't get to equipment without a key or whatever. But most of the time, guys, I just do A, B, C, D until I get to the destination. Make a long story short, guys, this was a no AC call. I believe the outdoor fan motor wasn't running. So I'm like, all right, this customer had actually, no, it wasn't a heat pump. It was an AC only air handler, guys. This customer had a air handler and a boiler for the heat. She had an air handler in the attic, guys. That air handler was a pain to get to. And you guys know, for you guys that are out there working in these ranch homes, you know how sometimes in these older homes, it looks like they put the air handler up and they frame the attic around the unit. Guys, I'm not even sure how the hell it looks illegal, but like I said, guys, like they had mad joists in front of the front and the sides of the air handler. God forbid, if that customer had to replace the blower motor, something will have to get cut and temporarily removed. That's just how bad it was. But luckily, the fan motor was running. So I'm like, all right. I pull my head up there and I'm like, all right. Luckily, I don't have to open up this panel because it's definitely a pain in the ass. So I'm like, all right, guys. I get out the attic. I go outside. And once again, this is an AC only condenser and straight AC air handler. So I go outside and I'm like, all right, this is a York straight AC condenser, but it had microchannel coils. So I'm like, all right. We got a micro channel coil. I'm like, all right, as long as we don't have any refrigerant leaks, I'm not making the situation like worse than what it is. I'm just trying to be careful and see what's going on. But guys, I go outside and sure enough, I'm getting power, leaving the contactor. The condenser fan motor was locked up. So what I do, guys, is I go out and I had another condenser fan motor on my truck. And guys, once again, this is another blazer. It was like 90 plus degrees outside. Guys, I'm thinking, this is a simple condenser fan motor swap out. No BS, guys. I go to put the new condenser fan motor in, and remember the micro channel coils I was telling you guys about? I was too rough with putting the housing with the new fan motor back on top of the unit. And guys, sure enough, I heard a hissing sound as soon as I put the freaking fan motor back on top of the unit, guys. And like, sure enough, I accidentally kinked a hole inside the top part. And like I said, guys, I should have took a picture of it, but you guys pretty much know what I'm talking about. Those older condenser coils, the top of the coils, when you take the housing off, like if you guys have to look inside the unit, they should put some type of protection on the top of the coil. So when you put the housing on, you're not putting the housing right on top of the coil. But like, gosh, there is no protection. Like the new ones now have like rubber gaskets or rubber sealants on top of the coil. So this shouldn't happen. But guys, me thinking it's ABCs and me wanting to put the fan motor in and fire the unit up, I moved too quick. And like I said, guys, what happened was I just accidentally I heard that hissing sound and I'm like, instantly, I'm like, damn, please don't let this coil have a leak in it. And sure enough, like I said, guys, that's what the issue was. I accidentally poked the hole in the coil. And sure enough, it was R22. So guys, like I had some, at that point, I think it was 407C. I had a little bit of 407C on the truck. And guys, like that situation, it should have been like a 40-minute service call. It turned into a nightmare because guys, listen to this. I didn't have nitrogen. I didn't have my vacuum pump on the truck. I had to go, once again, this is a no AC call. I had to first, once I quoted the customer for the fan motor, they wanted to get it done. And as soon as I did that, put the motor in, I heard the leak. I'm like, shit. All right, let me go get what I need to, fix this leak and refill it up and pull a vacuum and the whole 9 yards. Guys, I did that and this story goes from bad to worse, guys. I find the leak. I fixed the leak. I pressurize it. It held pressure. I pulled the vacuum. And guys, what happens next? When I put the door on, this is an older, this York condenser had to be like at least 20 years old, guys. But like, I go to put the door on, meaning the electric panel, and accidentally I just heard a spark. I'm like, hold on. Like, is there any wires hanging loose? And I'm like, come on, man. Guys, the whole time, I didn't look at it, but the side of the contactor coil, like I said, guys, you've seen it all the time. In the perfect world, all your components will be in the middle of the cabinet, of the condenser, but this one was like on the side. And guys, like, make a long story short again, after I fixed the leak, after I did the fan motor, I actually shorted out the contactor coil. So guys, you remember that air handler that was in the attic? Imagine you doing a fan motor. Imagine you fixing a leak on the coil. And now guess what? Now you got to go right back up in that attic, play around with the doors to get it off, bend the doors to take it off. And now you got to replace the transformer because they didn't have a 3-amp fuse in there. Gosh, how I'm explaining to you guys, like I said, imagine all that happening to you when it's 90 degrees outside. It's already 2 o'clock. Like I said, guys, you already been beat the hell up the whole day. Initially, guys, I'm like, yo, this shit, is this really happening to me? I'm like, how the hell I replace a fan motor? I poked the hole in the coil. I fixed the hole in the coil. Now I short out the contactor. I'm like, is somebody like pranking me right now? But guys, you got to realize, man, like you have to take the bad with the good. I just had to laugh it off, guys. Like at that point, I know every day it's not going to be like that, but like you got to laugh it off because sometimes, guys, the shit just doesn't make any sense. I could do that exact same job a million times, and every single time it works out great. But that one time of me doing a condenser fan motor with those older units, and I learned my lesson. Now I know with older units, whenever you replace fan motors and you put the housing back on top of the condenser unit, make sure if the coil is exposed on top, make sure you take your time. But guys, that situation never happened to me prior to that point, so I never thought anything of it. But at that point, guys, you live and you learn. But guys, hold on, I got the truck running. Let's go outside. I'm already done in there. Make sure my Wi-Fi is turned on. only got a quarter tank of gas in that truck. I gotta fill it up. But yeah, guys, like it's you live and you learn. That scenario. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is good. But yeah, you live and you learn. Like I said, that scenario, I knew to take my time with putting the housings back on top of condensed. Even if I'm not doing the fan motor, guys. Like let's say if you're just cleaning the leaves out of the bottom side of the unit. Whenever you're putting the housing back on the condenser units, just make sure, like I said, if it's not protected, if you don't see like any type of rubber sealant to protect the top of the coil, just take your time. And like I said, guys, because that situation, once again, it should have been a 40-minute service call. I was there for like almost 4 hours, guys. Like going up in the attic, and I had to get a ladder. The customer didn't have a pull down ladder. Like, guys, look, crazy service calls happen, but like I said, guys, you know, you gotta try your best to respond to it positively. And you know, luckily, like I had everything I need. You know, we didn't kill a compressor. We didn't have to come back the next day. I wanted to get that job squared away, but like I said, guys, that everything that could have went wrong on that job, like went wrong, guys. But guys, check this out. I had to get some work done to one of these vans. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Hold on. And this is just everyday shit. If you guys got trucks, so this van was leaking power steering fluid, and guys, I learned everything I learned from shit breaking down and mechanics telling me about it. So guys, you see that silver thing with the lines coming out of it? That's called a brake booster. And guys, with these GMC Savannahs, the issue was my power steering fluid was leaking out like every other week. And guys, I got sick of like carrying spare bottles of power steering fluid. So it was actually leaking from one of the tubes on the other side. And I had to pay a couple $100 to get that brake booster replaced. And guys, my mechanic was telling me that it's kind of hard to explain. I get it, but like once again, I'm not like a mechanic. I just understand certain things. Because this brake booster, it uses, I guess, the pressure from the power steering fluid to activate my brakes. So like, I guess the newer cars or the newer trucks, they use vacuum pressure to fuel, I guess, the pressure for your brakes to activate. But with this one, this mechanism actually uses back pressure from the power steering fluid to utilize my brakes. And like, guys, it was a thing. Like I said, I'm glad I got this situation done. You guys know, for you guys to have vans, when something leaks, it's not even the act of it leaking, but the fact that you have to like stop what you're doing to constantly refill things. Like, guys, I like to get in and get out. You know, most of my work, I like being at the customer's house or like say at the office. I don't like being, you know, at AutoZone getting refills or whatever the case is, guys. It's just, I like to be efficient with my time here. But guys, I am on the way, and it's starting to heat up out here. I got the AC on. But guys, I'm on the way to the car wash now. I got to wash old girl. I got the oil change done. But yeah, guys, like I said, this is just a day in the life shit. But like I said, these crazy service calls, guys, like I just explained 3 scenarios on the exact same system. Like having to replace a transformer, having to replace a condenser fan motor, and having to fix an AC leak all in the same unit. Guys, like at that point, you damn right, I was pissed off. But like I said, guys, I had to chalk it to the game, man. And like that situation never happened again because I learned my lesson, you know. But you guys definitely gotta, Raphael, I'm staying hydrated out here. I'm cool. But yeah, I mean, guys, Raphael, that's why I posted those, what is it called? Those liquid IVs. Like I use those all the time when I'm doing like installs. Liquid IVs, that's where it's at. Cause like regular water, especially in the summertime, if I'm doing an install, I can go through a whole gallon of water within a day, but it doesn't really hydrate you past a certain point. So those liquid IVs is where it's at. But yeah, guys, like I said, those crazy service calls, you know, like I feel like eventually if you guys don't have any crazy stories of service calls, you probably want to have them within the next year or two. You got to take whatever you know, take the bad with the good. But guys, just make sure you learn from every single service call you go on. Like most of what I'm telling you is not really stuff you can read from a book. This is just like real life shit. Like as far as what you see, you know, like, and I got another good one for you guys. Like, cause like I said, guys, I got stories out the ass. I just never thought about it like that until now. But like, guys, I had this one call. Shit, this had to been like within my first year or two in business, guys. Like, I think I put this online. think this is like how to find a low voltage short on a roof. Guys, I don't know what the hell it was. I think this is like an apartment complex out over in Philly that we had back in the day, guys. Like this customer, was it this one? I think this customer, we was trying to find a condenser on the roof, guys. Like nothing was labeled, and I forgot what method I used. I used like, guys, make a long story short, I don't know what the hell I did. That's like something you see, you everything comes to you like once you get on the job site. It's one of those calls. But like, I found a trick of how to find her unit on the roof based on like where her window was, like where I could see out the window. I lined that up with what I seen on the roof, and like it was some crazy method I used, guys. I actually put that on video somewhere. It's in my older videos, but guys, that's not the point though, right? The point is low voltage shorts, man. Like that was my weakness within my first, I want to say, first 3 years. And like I said, guys, I mean, some guys taught me. I definitely appreciate, like I said, the help that, you know, a lot of guys tried to give me at getting out of trade school with low voltage shorts. But like, guys, like you got to let low voltage shorts kick your ass a little bit in order for you to understand like how to maneuver. And like every job is different. You could have a mansion with 12 units, and you can have a furnace or air handler on the 4th floor. And now you got to trace all that shit back from the 4th floor outside on the ground. So like, you can't use that, or maybe you can, you know, if you got experience, but like, you got to approach every situation different. You know, if you go into every single no AC call and you find a low voltage short and you think every single low voltage short is a bad contactor, then like, guys, you might be setting yourself up for failure. And like, that's what I did, because guys, listen to this. One of my first handful of low voltage shorts I seen, this is back when I was training, before I was a maintenance tech. I did a ride along for like a couple of months, and I seen other guys troubleshoot low voltage shorts, and like I seen them doing it, and I'm like, damn, this only took him like 10 minutes to do. And I'm like, I didn't ask questions because I was like I was in tune to what the guy was doing. So I'm like, damn, he just literally went straight to the outside unit and replaced the contactor. I'm like, damn. In the back of my mind, I'm like, is every low voltage short this simple? And like, the more I started seeing it, I started like to get the rhythm behind like what the other tech was doing when I was the helper. And I'm like, all right, damn, I can't wait till I do a low voltage short. Maybe all those low voltage shorts are going to be easy. And guys, that was that was the furthest thing from the truth. Like I remember the first one I went on, guys. Like I'm talking when I was in business. Like I mean, when I was at that company, like so you had technically you had tech support. You can call a senior tech to help you out. But guys, when you're the you know, you're on the front line, like I said, it's different. But like I remember the first one I did when I was in business, guys. Like this was a tough one. This customer had like this is the biggest house that we ever worked on as far as with how many units they had. This customer had like 4 rooftop units. This is a big ass mansion. They had 4 rooftop units. They had like 10 cooling condensers, and guys, half of it they probably didn't even use. Like half of the house is dark. Like, and guys, I can tell you right now, like if a customer knows where everything is, I'm talking if this is your first time coming out there, if a customer knows where everything is, like I said, guys, that's good money. At least they can tell you, hey, yeah, my guest room left wing thermos, like it was very specific, guys. But like if a customer says, yeah, my guest room left wing 3rd floor thermostat is not working, if they can be that specific, then like I said, guys, that cuts your diagnosis time down in half. Because if they know where everything is, if they know what area is not feeling like hot or cold, then now you don't have to go up, you don't have to keep turning every single thermostat off and on. Like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, guys, and that's just the nature of the beast. But like with that particular call, guys, the guy with the 12, it was 10 split units and it was 4 rooftop units. I had to look at one of the split units. And I think he said it was like somewhere on the 3rd floor, guys. This house was crazy, but he was like it was a 3rd floor. Was it a guest room? I don't know what it was, guys, but like he knew where everything was. And like I asked him, I'm like, okay, so this is the thermostat. Where's the unit? He was like, I got 7 units in the attic here, and I got the rest of the units on the other attic on the other side of the house. So guys, he helped me out a lot, but I'm like, in the back of my mind, and I joke with him about this, guys. I'm like, hey, man, I definitely, I'm glad you're here for one, and 2, I'm glad you know where everything is, because I'm like, if you wasn't here, this would take me at least an hour just to figure out what goes to what, and this has nothing to do with the area that you're telling me that is not cooling. I'm like this place needs its own schematic, and like, I'm not saying it's all on the customer. Sometimes it depends, guys, because if he sells that house and whoever moves in, that company's going, unless it's the same company, that a new company's probably going to do the exact same thing. So you don't know, like I said, you know, you would prefer the customer to know where everything is, but guys, that's not reality. Most of the time, you don't even know until you're there. And the customer most of the time don't even know where the equipment is unless it's broken, guys. That's what you remember I was telling you, that proverbial 0 to 12 years, unless it's broken, guys, or unless the customer routinely replaces the filter, they don't really care about where an air handler is on the, especially if they got that many units, guys. Like, I mean, what's it to them to, like, you know, it doesn't really, the only thing they know is to call you. They don't really care to know where everything is. You get what I'm saying? So, like, you know, but like I said, guys, that particular residence, like, that was a low voltage short, but like, I guess the company that installed those units like 10 years prior, they labeled everything, so like that helped me out too. But like, guys, as soon as I pulled up to the house, I'm like, I'm ready for a dog fight. I'm like, if something's crossed, I'm like, shit, man, you got to roll your sleeves up, and hopefully most of them are working. Turn off everything and then turn on every single unit one by one until you figure out. At least you can isolate the ones that can't be the unit that you're looking for. And guys, that's easier said than done. Like, I got my ass kicked multiple times. Like I said, that first year or two in business with these low voltage shorts where units can be mislabeled or you don't know what's going on, guys. But like I said, like, it's trial and error. Like, it's just, you know, and like I said, you gotta have that mentality of, you know what, no matter what, like, so even if you can't figure it out and, you know, you can't find a solution, you know, try your best to, like I said, try to figure out, be your own worst critic and say, look, you know what, next low voltage short I go in, I'm gonna make sure I ask the right questions so I don't start off diagnosing in the wrong areas. You know, like, that's the biggest thing. But like I said, right now, guys, low voltage shorts, as long as I can get access to everywhere, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, it can be on the roof, it can be on the ground, it can be in the crawl space, it doesn't really matter. As long as, like, so I can have access, I don't have a customer turning the thermostat on by themselves and me not knowing what they turned on. Like, that can lead to a misdiagnosis. I'd rather, you know, and like I said, guys, you know, once again, you always respect people's property, but if a customer doesn't want to let you see the thermostat and it's related to the issue, you know, you just have to kindly explain to them, like, hey, ma'am and sir, I understand that, but part of me diagnosing the unit first is to see the thermostat, because if the thermostat has an issue or if it's not set correctly, then now that's going to lead me to not find the solution. And now it's going to, you know, I'm going to waste a bunch of time looking at something that is probably not even broken, you know. But I never had the issue of not getting to the equipment. You know, I'm talking residential. Commercial could be different, you know, if someone has to meet you there on site. But like I said, guys, like, that's the craziest house I've been at. And like I said, guys, I don't know what happened with that guy, but he had units out the ass. Like, those rooftop units, like guys, it's crazy, man. But guys, that's enough yapping. I can talk all day about my experiences, guys. Let me make sure I still got service. But yeah, guys, like I said, these crazy, I see more crazy things in the summer than I do in the winter. I don't really, in the winter time, guys, most boilers are going to last, you know, then at 20, 30 years, you know, unless you have some type of leak or something like that. But like I said, these AC units, you know, I feel like I see more crazier things in the summertime. I don't know why. But, you know, in Philly, and that call didn't happen in Philly. That was like somewhere down there in their Bluebell. But guys, in Philly, like I said, you're not really going to see crazy things. I mean, they may put condensers on the roof, you know, to stop people from stealing them, but you're not, I mean, at this point, if you can get to the unit, you know, you're good money. But like, if you can't get to the unit, you know, then it's not really nothing you can do. And like, I had this customer, right? This is some crazy shit. I had this customer, like I said, the first 2 years in business, guys, that if I had that shit recorded, some probably would have went viral, guys. But like, listen to this shit, right? I don't know when this was, guys. This had to be either my first or second year of business. This was a no AC call, guys. It was hot as hell that day. It was like 100+ degrees. And this customer called me. This is a brand new customer. She was like, yeah, my AC unit stopped working. And I'm like, okay, so what's the history on it? Have, you know, anyone looked at it in the past? Oh no, it's been working fine for years. I just replaced the filter and then now it just stopped working. Now it's blowing out warm air. So I'm like, all right, let me take a look at it. But guys, listen to this, right? I get there, right? And like I said, guys, based on that area, I assumed that everything was accessible. I didn't need like a ladder. I didn't need anything. But guys, I get there and she has a furnace and an evac coil in the basement. But the freaking condenser, and I didn't ask her because, like I said, guys, and that's my fault. I just assumed that everything was accessible. But I get there, guys, and I'm like, all right, so where's the thermostat? Okay, where's the indoor unit? She said it's in the basement. I'm like, all right. I looked at the line set. The line set went. It looked like it went up. It didn't go through the basement outside. I'm like, what the hell? So I go outside. I'm looking around the backyard, and she's in a row house, so she technically has a backyard, but she really don't. She like it's kind of like narrow. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, where's the AC condenser? She was like, oh, the thing on the outside is on the roof. And guys, She showed me where the AC unit was on the roof, and like, guys, like I said, guys, I used to be on my Spider-Man shit back in the day. I can tell you that's a whole nother topic, guys. I used to do some crazy shit to get to units, but guys, I don't take those type of risks because most of the time it's not worth it. And two, the likelihood of something happening and you getting hurt is just not worth it, guys. Because the point is, I want to walk away from this shit. I want you guys to walk away from this stuff too. I don't want you guys just to, just because a customer needs you to get on the roof and you're happy to have a customer. You start getting on the roof and act like you're Spider-Man. You break your leg, you break your foot. Now you're out for 6 months. Like, like that, guys. Like, fuck that. You can't avoid everything. You can get hurt walking across the street. I understand. You can't avoid everything, but guys, you got to be smart too. But like that scenario, guys, this customer had a damn condenser. You can tell like it was Jimmy red, but like she had a condenser all the way on top of the roof, and it was like the shit looked it looked crazy. It was like it wasn't a flat roof. It was like an A-frame roof, and someone built a small platform, and the unit was right there. And I'm like, lady, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to get to that unit. And she was like, and instantly, like, I thought she was like, all right, I'll find another company. She got mad at me. She was like, oh, well, I called you out here because I thought you can fix it. I'm like, well, what? I didn't know you had a unit on the roof. I assumed, I worked in plenty of homes in this area. I thought everything would be on the ground. She was like, oh, no, it used to be on the ground, but someone stole it. So I had the guy install it on the roof a couple of years ago. And she was like, I tried to get in contact with him, but he stopped answering the phone. And I'm like, as soon as she said that, I'm like, now I know why he probably stopped answering the phone. Because, like, that shit was like, and like I said, guys, we have a 32-foot ladder on the truck, but, like, that 32-foot ladder was not going to reach that roof. Like, it was one of those units where, like, one of those areas was just like, bro, like, I get the idea of, like I said, the theft thing, but, like, they do make cages. You could keep them on the ground and you could put it in a protected cage, but putting that unit on the roof, knowing that it's going to be hard to service, like, I'm like, and I straight up told that lady, I'm like, I understand you're upset, but I'm like, just for future reference, like, not every company is going to, not every HVAC company is going to have a damn near 50-foot ladder to get on the roof every time something breaks. I'm like, if you're concerned about theft, you could have some type of protective cage or something built around it, but it's just like, I'm like, that's going to be hard for me to get to. Even if I get on that roof, there's really no, I'm not trying to accidentally fall through that roof. I'm like, instantly, guys, like said, she got mad at me. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, look, you can get mad at me. I'm like, look, the best thing I do is to say the truth. If I accidentally fall through your roof, now you're gonna have now you got two issues. Your AC is not gonna work, and now you got to pay for a new roof. So I'm like, look, lady, like I said, guys, you cannot take shit personal. Like I said, it is what it is. I tell guys this all the time, especially guys that work under me. You don't know what you're gonna see. I never tell one of my guys to put themselves in harm's way, but like, if a customer is mad at you for something you can't do and you're honest and upfront with them about it, guys, look, it is what it is. Because, like, look, I could easily not say anything and then make matters worse. And, like, I didn't want to go back and forth with her, guys. And I'm like, at this point, she's already upset. Her house is 100 degrees. Like, I'm like, I'll just chalk it to the game. I'm like, you know what, man, you don't even have to pay the copay, just like I said. But I'm like, whoever you call next, make sure you specify that they're going to need a 50-foot ladder to get on your roof. And I'm like, and I hate to say it, I'm like, she might fuck around and need a cherry picker to get up on that roof. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit, man. I'm like, it's just, I seen that one more time. I seen that another, not recently, but I seen it another time where a customer built a platform on their roof for a condenser, and I'm like, fuck that. And guys, when I install something, I always think about worst case scenario. I'm like, if we install something like that and it breaks, like, I don't have to rent ladders and rent everything. Like, that's unnecessary. And I'm like, and how much does a steel guard cost? Like, maybe $100. Like, that versus, like, guys, let's fuck all that, man. I'm not doing none of that, man. Frank, what's going on, man? God, if you're just coming in here, I'm just rambling off about crazy service calls I've been on, guys. Like, and the common denominator between all these service calls is that it always happens in the summertime. In the wintertime, everything is on ground level. Everything's accessible. But guys, I don't know, when it gets hot, like I said, that's when all these units that people put in crazy locations, all these units tend to break down. And like, the customers had issues with finding companies and contractors that can actually get to these units. But like I said, guys, I got yelled at a bunch of times, like I said, for not being able to get to the unit. But like I said, guys, it happens every day. We just don't know about it. But like, you got people out there doing Spider-Man shit every day. I mean, get your money. Who am I to tell you, what jobs you should do or what you shouldn't do? But guys, like, luckily I never got hurt. Like I said, when I was on my Spider-Man shit in year 1 or year 2, I had to jump across a couple roofs. But like I said, guys, like, luckily I got smart enough to know, like I said, what jobs are worth it and what jobs aren't worth it. I don't care how much, and it's not even about the money, guys. Like I said, the money is going to come with longevity. You know, the more you learn, you know, the more you're available. Like I said, it's just, you know, the money is going to come. But like, guys, like, you know, I was telling y'all about that story that almost took us out of business. Like, if I took that job of running that ductwork, you know, down in Center City, if I would have took that job and, like I said, knowing that there was a chance I wasn't going to get paid, if I would have took that job and like I said, you know, something would have went left, you know, that would have been my fault because I'm the one who took that job. Similar to that job I just explained, guys, with the condenser on the roof. If I would have took that job and something would have happened, I can't blame the customer because, like, it was my job to say yes or no. Or if I said no, it's my job to let the customer know. Like, I'm not just declining work just because. If it's like a health and safety risk, then, like, look, you know, it's just, that's just how the cookie crumbles, you know. And I told her exactly what to do. Hopefully someone else got up there to fix it, but, like, I'm like, shit, lady, it's the reason why you see a bunch of window units in this neighborhood. Like, if you can't put the units down without someone stood, or if you can't, you know, put a safeguard in, like, look, you know, what are you expecting the contractor to do? You know, they need space to work, and they got to make sure they can do the job safely. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be in for a dogfight to find a company to come out to do it. But guys, I'm about to get up out of here. I just had to go on my little crazy service call rant. Guys, I got a bunch of crazy ass stories. Like I was telling y'all my intro video, I seen a bunch of crazy shit. Like I said, I ain't throwing nobody underneath the bus, because every crazy thing I seen, good or bad, I feel like it all led to good, you know. If something bad happened where, like I said, I was training and the guy cut out the metering device and I knew it wasn't right, but I wasn't in the position to tell him what he was doing was wrong, guys, that was a learning lesson. That job wasn't meant for me to, like I said, tell the lead tech what to do, but at least I learned from it. I knew that situation wasn't right, but like I said, guys, like, whether, you know, I seen a bunch of shit, but like I said, most of it all leads to, like I said, me knowing what not to do the next time. And like, you guys can take that same concept, you know, if you guys are out there, like I said, hopefully you're not doing some crazy shit, putting yourself at risk. But like I said, guys, if you're out there, you know, like I said, learn as much as you can. I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing sales, if you're doing install, if you're doing service, maintenance, whatever the case is, whatever you're doing, it's something that you're doing every day that you can learn from, either to get better at it or, like I said, you know, or get better at it. It's really, you're not going to get worse unless you don't want to do the fucking work, you know. So, but guys, I got to get up out of here. I should have brought me some water out here. And them vending machines, one bottle of water is like $5. They can keep that shit. I ain't about to get nothing in there. I'm about to go to 7-Eleven. But all right, guys, I got to run my errands, and I got a couple of service calls I got to run tomorrow. Shit, I put a 12 to 2 on the schedule tomorrow. What I got? It's all 3 no AC calls, but that 12 to 2, the guy said that he heard a rattling sound in his basement, and that was a couple days ago. He was like, now he don't have any air blowing out the vent. So guys, you know what that means? That means it's definitely probably a blower motor locked up in the broken squirrel cage. But that should be fun. But hopefully it's not raining outside. I'll probably put that job on live, but I have to make sure it's not raining, or you know, make sure the job is like I got space to work at. Frank, yeah, the sky, hell, you're damn right, the sky's the limit, man. But make sure you guys out there having fun with this shit. But guys, I got a rule. Guys, you know what I did? Like 2 weeks ago, I wrote down like damn near 10 different topics I can talk about. God, that's one thing about me, guys. I don't run out of content. Like I said, you guys, my content ain't for everybody, but like I said, I got a bunch of different topics based on what I've seen. Like I said, guys, most of the shit, before I started recording service calls, you know, this is just everyday stuff to me. But like I said, guys, now, and I love to yak and talk shit. So like I said, guys, everything works out, you know, with my experience and everything I can tell y'all about. But guys, like, I seen a bunch of crazier service calls, but I just don't have time to go over all that shit today. But like I said, guys, be sure to check out more videos I'm going to put out on Monday and Tuesday and so on and so forth. And keep rocking and rolling, guys. I'm going to rock out. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.